I always look forward to working with the Central California group because you guys have represented Bodine for the last 20 years. And so I think I hired TLC in 2001 or two. It was back in the old days. And anyway, it's always been nice to call on a lot of you that are on this call now. And so I appreciate you guys giving us a few minutes. So I'm going to jump right in, and I'm actually going to set my timer here for 20 minutes. And so I'm going to exceed Allison's 3, and we'll save some time for questions. So if you'll hold your questions till we're done, then we'll knock those out. So I'm going to jump right in. So again, emergency lighting. Dick Bodine invented the first fluorescent battery pack in 1962 here in Tennessee, where I live. And we have one unique product of Bodine is we sell to all fixture manufacturers. So I know we've got a mix of specifiers, contractors, and distributors on this call. One unique thing is that if you're a specifier, you can one name specify Bodine because we sell to every factory that you're specifying. And so that's always made us unique in the industry. Hubbell doesn't sell to Acuity, Acuity doesn't sell to Cooper, and vice versa, but they all buy Bodine. And so that makes us, no matter what lighting package you're looking at for what specific job or project, we allow you to do that. And so today I'm going to share some of the new advances, and I'm going to do it in 20 minutes. So with that being said, the reason most people are on this call today is emergency lighting is not nice to have, it's a gotta have. It's required by the NFPA National Fire Protection Life Safety Code. And so that means you cannot get your certificate of occupancy until you have your emergency lighting. And so there's other codes that apply locally and municipally, but predominantly the national code is the NFPA 101, which talks about maintaining a 1-foot candle average along the path of egress for 90 minutes. We're seeing different municipalities in California now go to a more stringent and go to a 1-foot candle minimum, not a 1/10 of a foot candle minimum. And so that's a huge deal. So if you're a specifier and you're doing a job outside of town, you may want to find out what the local foot candle requirements are, because you don't want to be surprised after the fact and have to go back in and add additional battery packs. So again, Bodine advantage. One major advantage is our entire LED portfolio is California Title 20 compliant. If you see this BC circle, that means battery charger compliant, and it is stamped on each individual Bodine unit label. It is right next to the UL listed, which means it can be either factory or field installed, a designation or mark. And so that's one thing that's really good about our portfolio. We have by far the largest California compliant portfolio in the world. So again, that's something to keep in mind. We get into several products today: new LED, new inverters, new relays. And one thing about us is we're made all in North America. So Memphis, Tennessee, Texas, and down in Tijuana, just below you guys. And so what does that mean? It means, as you know, if you're in the car industry or tried to buy a new car lately, there's a lot of pent-up demand because they don't have chips. And so one thing that's advantageous to Bodine is we are one of the largest, if not the largest purchaser of components, and we're able to weather that storm. I was on a call earlier today, and there are some supply chain issues going on, but we were forecasting out in advance, and we have the ability to meet that demand. So that's one thing that we're excited about. Again, I'm not going to beat everything to death. Here's a nice one-page summary that shows you the difference between an individual battery pack with this. In this case, it's an LED emergency driver in the top picture. And again, the difference between a battery pack, the top picture, whether it's fluorescent or LED, and the second one, an inverter, is the top picture drives the LED array or the fluorescent lamp with the output of the emergency battery pack. The inverter actually provides basically line voltage or utility power. Once the building loses normal power, the inverter kicks in and acts as if it is utility power, and it powers the normal ballast or driver in the fixture. And then if you have a transfer device, multiple dimming aux sensors and all these complex daylight harvesting layouts where you've got a generator backing up the building, we have a whole product portfolio of transfer switches or devices, whether it's a UL 924 wall switch bypass or UL 1008 transfer, where you're transferring between the two panels. So if you hear the word generator, the takeaway today is we've got whatever application that's involved with the generator, whether it's a relay, if you need inverters, or battery packs. So that's kind of the first takeaway right there. New drivers. And so we have just initiated an entire portfolio, and this is an eye chart. It's not meant for you to read it, but we've started to break things down. In the old days, it was what was the wattage of your fluorescent lamp? Was it a 42 watt compact fluorescent, a 32 watt 4-foot T8? Now in the LED world, it's 4 watts of emergency output, 6 watts, 7, 10, 14, 20. And you take whatever model you've selected there. In this case, if you took the far right 20 watt times the efficacy of the fixture, if the fixture is 100 lumens per watt, that's a 2000 lumen battery pack. Very easy to calculate your path of egress using approximate numbers that way. So just another, and I'm going to get into some of the advances. Here's the first new product of this year. In the old days, we had a much larger product. This is 4 inches by 3 inches. And it's done because we have the new lithium battery technology. This is a special lithium, which I'm going to get to a slide on that in a second. But this is a bottom stud mount or a side mount, for downlight applications. This thing is phenomenal. And so here's the old way we did it with the Bodine BSL 17C-C2. That's conduited dash class 2 for the last 3 digits. And you can see the bottom right of the picture where it's got 2 feet of flex conduit on each end. It's bulky, it's heavy. And then here's the new model right now. It clips with the bottom stud mount. You just use the knockout on the J box of the downlight, and it just clips right on there. And the test switch is plenum rated, so you don't need the bulky conduit. So if you're a specifier and you're looking for a gotcha, or a new state-of-the-art that trumps all other LED downlight products, this BSL 06M5 is the latest innovation in technology. And so if you have a downlight, I would highly recommend you put that in your specification. If you're a contractor and you're going in on a retrofit, this saves you a ton of time, not having to worry about the test switch and the cabling and all that. You can just put this thing in there and mount it on a plate that we provide, or you can put it in the reflector. Really easy. And here's a flat panel where the junction box is on the bottom of the picture there. You can see the 3 wires exiting the J box. This unit's bottom out, so not only for downlights, it can be used for linear flat panel applications as well. Because space constraint, this is very small, unobtrusive, and fits right in there on your typical T-grid mounting. So I mentioned battery. So this has been the year of 2021, and late 2020 was the advantages of the lithium iron phosphate or lithium battery. Significantly smaller size, weight, superior efficiency, longer life, longer storage. And the big deal now is it's environmentally friendly. We always had, to certain centers, we had to send the high temperature nickel cadmium because cadmium is toxic. And so you had to be very, very cautious with that. And so again, reduced charging times. You can actually go down below 32 degrees without having a heater in your unit, which we have the cold temperature products. That doesn't really apply to California. But anyway, lithium iron phosphate is the new technology for LED battery packs moving forward. And so one of the other new features of our new whole lithium platform, and we just launched 18 new SKUs, is what we call automatic Bodine connection. In the old days, we had a converter connector. It was 2 wires that when you, if a factory installed the product, sometimes they would accidentally connect the converter connector and the battery would discharge in transit. It would get to the job site and have no battery energy, and it wouldn't. They tried to do an installation and bring the code enforcement through there to do the certificate of occupancy inspection. It would fail because the battery had discharged. So this feature allows that not even to have that extra 2 wires in there when you're installing. So it's less to mess with, and it gives you It senses AC current is applied and automatically activates the emergency driver. And the labor times, both in the factory and in the field, and the ability to forget to connect the converter and button up the fixture and leave the job and have to come back, it eliminates all of that, plus the inadvertent discharges. So all of our lithium products come with this. We say it's as easy as ABC. It's automatic battery connect. And so we're very excited that this is a feature now moving forward, and we will use this feature. It's patented. We will use that on all future products. So just as an eye chart as well, but the models on the left are the new 20-watt lithium models compared to the model on the right. And you can see the significant size advantages now, where now you can put a 20-watt battery pack inside the fixture if you need it. And so top left is non-conduited, that would go inside. The middle picture left is conduited, that would go. And then we have a separate battery version at the bottom, which allows you to plug and play, and you may set them at an L shape or within the fixture, move it around where they'll actually fit inside the ballast channel. So, and the same with the, those were class 2 rated. These are high voltage. And we did the same for the 14 watt, which is a whole new wattage category. This is brand new. We used to go from 10 watts to 20. Now we have a little more. So if you're a specifier and you need that specification grade lumen output or a little bit higher lumen package, our 14 watt is right in your wheelhouse for those type designs. And so again, these are the high voltage models that go up to low voltage, then high voltage on the right up to 200 volts. So again, not to beat this to death, today's more of a overview, just to let you know that there's new wattages available without getting in and going through the minutia of each one. And we can steer you. Reach out to the TLC team. We can guide and steer you into which model is appropriate or applicable to your application. We have hazardous products, class 1, div 2, and then I'm gonna hit 2 more sections and we're done. I'm right on schedule here. So inverters. So everybody's had inverters over the years, and we learned years ago that if you don't use a pure sine wave inverter, that you will have problems with LED fixtures, because the old square wave inverters is what you use typically with fluorescent loads. And so all of our products are named Eli. I did that because I'm an Ole Miss guy, and Eli Manning was why I named this, and I pulled one over on the Bodine team. I told him we're going to call it an emergency lighting inverter, Eli, knowing full well that I got Alabama, Tennessee, Arkansas, and others in the room. So when the literature was printed, I said, I got every one of you guys. So that's been a running joke for years. They hate it, but I love it. And so that's part of the fun of this. So if you're a contractor and you can't remember all this lingo and models and nomenclature, just remember Eli Manning and call TLC and say, I need a Eli Manning. We have them 10 watts all the way up to 400 watts. But what really sets us apart is we have a 0 to 10 volt dimming feature, which allows you, when the building loses power, we can go, and I'm going to go to a diagram right here. Oops. I got ahead of myself. I must have closed it out. So anyway, this product will actually go take a fixture, and it will spread whatever the wattage you've selected automatically. It's auto sensing across the entire fixtures downstream that are emergency fixtures. And so if you have 10 40 watt fixtures, the 100 watt inverter can handle up to a 400 watt load. So in normal mode, the building's got 10 40 watt fixtures on a single circuit. That's a 400 watt total load. Building loses power, and yet every one of those 40 watt fixtures is designated for emergency. We will automatically drop that from 40 watts to 10 watts, and you can get 10 watts again with the equivalent of a 10 watt battery pack times the efficacy of the fixture. So if it's 100 lumens, 120, 140 lumens per watt, there's your 12, 13, 1400 lumen battery pack equivalent in a single inverter. And so your cost per fixture, now a $500 inverter is divided by 10 fixtures, you're looking at a $50 adder per fixture versus 100 plus per fixture. So plus you don't have the time and effort to install 10 of them, you install one inverter. And so you just take the 0 to 10 signal and daisy chain it downstream to the fixtures that are on the emergency circuit. Our brand new Elias 250 and 400 watt will be California compliant in June. We're launching that in about 30 days. We're very excited about that. So that's going to broaden our CEC larger wattage inverter portfolio. So wrapping this up on the generators, the GTDU, if you are a specifier and you are looking for a single fixture relay, this one has been upgraded to cover all bases. It's UL 924, it's dual rated UL 1008. It can be wired for either a wall switch bypass or a 1008, and it will solve any single fixture. It has a 0 to 10 volt dimming override in its universal input. The far right one is the generic counterpart to the branch circuit version, GTD 20A. It's big, 4x6x9. You can drive a tank over them. We don't get them back in the field. And it's also dual listed. It can be wired between two panels as a true transfer 1008, or it can be a load control relay for multiple fixtures. And so we've got you, and then the ones 3 in the middle there are different amperage wattages. So 10 amp can use 2 or 3 fixtures in a single room. It has the dimming override, and then the 16 dim also. So each one is rated for different applications or different number of fixtures. Just remember, generator, we have products, but this GTDU really has upgraded the entire single fixture relay right here. We're very excited. And to wrap this up, last 2 minutes is LED TLEDs. And this is more toward contractor distributor customers here, where you have a type A, a type B, and a type C. And so if it's a type A, where it's a fluorescent fixture, and all you're doing is swapping out the fluorescent 4-foot lamp with the 4-foot LED tube or TLED, and you're going to maintain the normal ballast, fluorescent ballast, then we have a whole product family of fluorescent battery packs that have AC output that allow you to operate that. You'll see that on the next slide. Type B is what we call mains fit, hot socket, or bypass, where it's actually not using the ballast or driver. It is actually running the sockets or line voltage, and that would be one of our inverters. And the last new product I'm going to introduce is in this same section. And then type C is if the lamp has the driver in it, then we would use one of our standard LED battery packs. But this is brand new. We're launching it here in about a week, and this is going to be the new, if you're a contractor and do a lot of energy saving ESCO work, if you're a distributor that sells to a lot of ESCOs, this is right in their wheelhouse, because this is for the new phase cut dimming Philips lamp that right now we're told that type B has swiftly surpassed type A, and more people are going to the less expensive type B because you don't need a normal ballast or driver. And so this product, again, is compatible with the new phase cut dimmable TLED type B lamps. So that's what we're very excited about. This can be remote mounted up to 250 feet, or it can be mounted inside the fixture. It's the lithium technology. It's significantly smaller, and it gives you 12.5 watts or volts out of the for 90 minutes. A metal enclosure, and it's CEC Title 20 compliant. So if you hear the word type B TLED, we now have got the product in here, and it's under $100, and it's an inverter that's under $100, which that's saying a lot. So anyway, that is basically what I was going to share today. So if you have type A, the fluorescent products that have AC output for those 7 models listed there. The type B is our inverter portfolio. And then we're going to add the new B2B, the one I just showed you, the BTB 15 watt inverter, and the type C. There it is again. So anyway, we have the ability to help you guys. If you have a design you're struggling with, or you're not sure what to use, reach out to our tech support, our website. We have a lot of spec sheets, installation instructions, warranty information. And with that, I'll turn it over for questions. And I'm 20 minutes in, right on the money.
Great job, Rob. Thank you so much. There's a question that came in for you to talk a little bit more about self-testing and what that means and what that entails. Could you
Excellent.
give us a little bit more information on that?
Absolutely. It's really funny. In 1996, Bodine invented the B50 ST, and we use nomenclature for all of ours. The ST stood for self-test. So we actually held the patent in the fluorescent world for many years, still do. We still sell a ton of them. So code requires a 30-second functional test every month, once a year, a 90-minute full battery discharge test. And so we created we created a microprocessor that does it automatically. And if it senses there's a battery voltage, charging current, or lamp or LED chip outage, the LED flashes. So the maintenance guy didn't have to do anything but walk down the hall and look for the LED test switch. And if it's flashing on a self-test unit, based on the number of times it flashes, it's self-diagnostic. It'll tell the maintenance man the battery's not charging, the lamp's burned out. It'll give you all the information right at your fingertips without having to get a ladder, climb the ceiling. So why self-test? Well, if you have a school, a large commercial facility where you've got hundreds of fixtures from a liability standpoint, we know in the real world with everybody cost cutting and reducing headcount that the maintenance guy is not climbing a ladder, dropping the lens and hitting the test button every month, every year of every single fixture. And so this product is, I think it's a $5 adder now. It used to be 20, but prices have come down and components have gotten smaller or less expensive. And so we now have the ability to do this. This acts, I mean, you can't pay a contractor $1 a year to go in. I mean, a maintenance guy, $1 per year to go test every single fixture. And that's what this is the equivalent of. It does the code required testing. So that's the self-testing and what it's for. Again, life safety code requires a test. This does it automatically, and it's also self-diagnostic. So it's a great product.
Thank you for that. Any other questions? You can drop them in the chat or you can unmute yourself. I'm just going to ask you one thing, Rob. If you could show us the diagram of the patented dimming system, could you go to that slide real quick? Is that on there? And then it looks like John might have a question. John Irwin, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good.
So here's a 250 watt inverter, and you've got 8 fixtures. The 4 on the left are normal only. They are not emergency. The 4 on the right are normal and emergency. And so as you see the bottom left wall switch, and you can see our products coming in, we're monitoring the ahead of the unswitched hot ahead of the wall switch. The plus and minus 0 to 10 are coming in the top left of the inverter and exiting the top going downstream to the emergency fixtures. So this is in normal power. All 8 fixtures are running. The building loses utility power. The 4 fixtures on the left are dead, they're gone. And now the 4 fixtures on the right, in this instance, you take 250 watts and you divide it by 4. So you'd have 65 watts per fixture of output. So in this, I would probably use a 100 watt inverter here and you'd get 25 watts instead of a 250. But again, this is just a diagram for just a kind of an overview for purposes there, for just to see how it kind of wires up. But as you can see, there's the dim out plus and minus goes downstream, and they bring that in and through each fixture and then back. So it's it's that simple. And we just
we're now able to have multiple fixtures at a dimmed level on the emergency run, if you will, that now you have a nice even layout, whereas we're used to 100% of here and there and everywhere when it comes to those battery packs.
Right. Inverters have always been overkill. So if you took full light output, remember the first slide I talked about was the code requirement 1 foot candle average. In the old days, an inverter would give you full light output, and that would give you 25 foot candles on the floor, 25 times. It was a waste of dollars. This dials it back, or you can scale it back to what you need, whether you want 4 fixtures or 6 fixtures, and spread out 100 or 200 or 400 watts across whatever that load is. So it kind of lets you have a lot more flexibility, and it makes your emergency adder much less per single fixture.
Thank you.
And yet you still meet the code.
So,
John, what do you have for us?
well, on this dimmable driver thing, if the fixtures are in a dimmed position when the main power fails and the battery kicks in, how do you maintain your 1 foot candle minimum when the
We
fixture?
we bypass the dimmer. That was like that when the old fluorescent days, and in our inverters, we actually have a GTD built into the circuitry of our units. So we will actually bypass any dimming feature and bring the fixtures up to whatever the load there that this thing is designed to do. So in other words, if you had them dimmed down to 10% and before a power outage, and then all of a sudden the power goes away, so does that dimming signal that you had originally. We take over and control it with our dimming signal in the inverter itself. And so it will actually override the building inverter because it's dead. It's got no power to drive it. And our unit is now using that same feature that we have patented in there, where it'll automatically distribute the total wattage of that inverter. Like the 250 can be put on a 750 watt total load. It's not a 750 watt inverter, but you're not driving that 750 watts at full light output. You're distributing 250 watts across. So you're getting about a third of the light output in that instance.
Well, no, I understand that, but if you dim the lights down and then the power kicks out and the battery takes over and your dimming comes in, at that dimmed level, are you still going to be able to meet the 1 foot candle minimum?
Well, yes, that's the whole purpose of this product. And so you're not dimming it to zero. I mean, there's got to be some trying to think.
You'd be designing it to what your
Correct.
requirements are, John.
Yeah.
So you would ensure that if it was at a 25% dimmed level,
Correct.
like it was distributed and each fixture was receiving 25%, that was sufficient to meet the code. So you do
Correct.
need to put in some mathematics and design there. It's not just an automatic, but
Gotcha.
that's how you would accomplish that.
Okay, understood.
Yeah,
Great.
that's good.
Good
Great.
question.
Yeah, very, very good question. Sorry, I was not very good at explaining that earlier. But yeah, this has been out for we're in our 3rd year now of this 0 to 10 feature, and the feedback we've gotten, especially from the specifiers and the contractors, is this thing we don't get them back, and that's the beauty of it. It's one of these specify it and forget about it, because one other feature, and again I'm running over, but it's got electronic disconnect. Let's say the contractor loads it up to 5,000 watts, and the maximum watts is 750. In the old days, that would blow up and smoke the unit, RMAs, new circuits, new units. This one, it just simply disconnects and the LED flashes. If it's overloaded, doesn't damage the unit, take a fixture off and then re-hit the test switch and it's good to go. So anyway, this thing has really had some smarts to it. And I've been at Bodine 21 years, and this has been a great product. Sell it, spec it, and forget about it. We don't get them back.
There's another question here, Rob. It says, is this product compatible with class 1 or class 2 0 to 10 volt wiring? I think you kind of answered that before, that we're bypassing that dimming signal, but maybe you can speak just another sentence or two to that.
I'm not sure. That's the first. I've never had that question in all these years on a class 1. I'll have to get you an answer if somebody wants to send me an email, or if you can do this, I'll get you an answer and confirm it.
Okay, sure.
It's a great question. I haven't had that one asked in all these presentations for several years. So somebody got stumped the professor. You got me, because I don't have the answer.
Tim's going to handle it. Thanks, Tim. Appreciate that.
Perfect.
Well, we really appreciate all you guys coming out today for the participation. It's been wonderful. As Rob started off with, we have been great partners for a long time, not just with Rob, but also with you guys. And so we look forward to helping you with all of the emergency needs that you have on your projects. As he said, doesn't matter what fixture you're specifying, you can still use Bodine. Now, of course, we want you to use the fixtures that you know which ones we want you to use, but that's a whole nother point. So thank you again for joining us today, and your salespeople on here, they're going to wave to you right now and give them a shout out and go chat with them and have a great weekend. Oh wait,
Thanks
it's
again.
my weekend because I'm going on vacation. Y'all have a good hump day.
Bye, everybody.